Here.
Franzilla.
Here.
Excellent. We have one person, she's coming late. She did call and say she's going to be late, or texted. We have recognitions tonight. Melissa May. We do. Here. Is that you? Hi, I read all about you last time. You were in here and I read your whole letter for everybody. Hi, I'm Eileen. Come on up. You want to talk about yourself?
Dr. Glass.
Dr. Glass.
Yes, I'm sorry.
Please stay with us, Dr. Glass, for a few moments. Tell us about Melissa, please,
Let me
and the program.
do this because you really have to hear from her. She's a remarkable person. So I'm just going to give you a quick soundbite and then turn it over to Melissa so she can give you the details and also introduce somebody else who's in the audience tonight. Melissa came on board with a math background and quickly evolved into doing math coaching for us, which quickly evolved into being a math department head, STEM department head. It's remarkable how quickly she's gravitated to the leadership role that she is currently fulfilling. And a prediction is that this will be short-lived and that in the not-too-distant future there'll probably be something bigger and better on the horizon for her because she's moving that quickly. So Melissa Nadeau, I'm going to have her introduce somebody else first and then explain what the deal is.
I'd like to first introduce my husband, Jason. We got married on April 16th this year. So.
My birthday.
We're newlyweds. Thank you. I applied for the Teachers for a Global Classroom position because I'm always constantly looking to better myself and professionally develop in my career. And this is something that has always spoken to me. I've been very fortunate to travel around the world many times with this young man here. And one trip in particular, when we were in South Africa, it hit me the difference between our society and others. And when I came back, I shared that experience with my students, and it actually ended up we collected blankets and I had some sent to that region. And so just that little taste of it has always stuck in my mind, and I knew that we needed to do something more. So through this program, I'll spend the fall taking coursework through the Department of State, and I go in February to a symposium in Washington, D.C. for global literacy. And then I go somewhere. I don't know where yet. I'm excited to find out where. It could be anywhere. The last cohorts were in Ghana, India, Russia, and there's another place, but I'm not sure. So I still don't know where I'll be, but I'll spend about 3 weeks in a foreign country going to their schools, immersed in their culture. And when I come back, it all culminates with a capstone project, which I have to create a curriculum, a focus of study, and combining, life here in America with what's going on in the world. And I think it was just a really great point too with our global studies program opening up in the middle schools. And since that's where my area of focus is now, 6th through 8 math and science, it kind of just fit in with everything that I'm doing in my career. And I'm very excited to bring this opportunity to the students of Danbury because that's what it's all about. Having students realize that, it's a very large world outside of the confines of Danbury, and what we can do here can also make a difference elsewhere.
Thank you very much. We have a certificate for you if you would come up and see it. Superintendent.
That's why you needed to hear from Melissa herself. That's what she's always like.
Congratulations. Did you want to take us over with?
No.
Oh, look up
We always say that we celebrated our honeymoon. We were originally supposed to get married in 2010, but we both focused on our careers for a few years. And we went to South Africa. That was supposed to be our original honeymoon.
She actually believed you. That's the funny
Congrats.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
We're honored to have you here. Thank you
Thank you
very
very
much.
much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, the other part of our recognitions tonight is Christmas STEM Challenge. Those kids will be arriving probably sometime about 8-ish or 9. Okay? They're on a field trip. So they said, could they come late? And I said, no, you must return from the field trip early to stand in front of the Board of Education. Alrighty, public participation. The board, what? Oh, okay. The board welcomes public participation and asks the speakers please limit their comments to 3 minutes. Speakers may offer objective comments of school operations and programs that concern them. The board will not permit any expression of personal complaints or defamatory comments about the Board of Education, personnel, or students, or against any person connected with the Danbury Public School System. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to speak? Rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Going, down. Sounds handing me something.
We won't be back.
They won't be back. We're not going to see
Doesn't look like
the Sikorsky team tonight, I'm sorry. They'll be here next week, or 2 weeks from now. Oh, no, they won't. The school is out by then. Alrighty, I have consent calendar. Pat?
That the Board of Education approve the items on the consent calendar as recommended 14-131 through 14-136.
Seconded by Gladys. All in favor? Any questions, discussions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Okay, it passes. I'm sorry? Thank you.
It goes through grants also. I'm sorry, I have to amend that through 14-137.
I'm sorry, that's it. Okay.
Sorry.
All right, thank you. Are there, I see an employee representative. Would anyone like to speak? Thank you.
Taking my point of personal privilege this evening.
There you go.
Is it on?
Yes.
I just wanted to come and thank you personally. My term ends July 15th, not soon enough. But I thank you for the open communication. I thank you for the time at board meetings to speak. It truly has been a privilege to represent 800 plus teachers whom I think Danbury has a fabulous, fabulous teaching staff. And so I thank you, and you will see Sam Buck, who is the current vice president from Danbury High School, is taking over as president, and Kathy Berman from Haystown will be the vice president. So have a wonderful summer.
It's been nice with you to have you here also.
Thank you.
All right, actions. No, sorry, backing that down. And presentation is here. Karen, will you please speak for us? Oh, thank you. Turn that up, please. Thank you. Otherwise, I get yelled at.
Thank you for asking me to talk about grants. I put together just a brief outline of what we're presently doing, so I'm just going to read from my notes here. Basically what our current focus is right now is the P-TECH type program, early college initiative. And we're working with Naugatuck Valley Community College and the Connecticut State Board of Regents. I know that Dr. Salas brought this up at other board meetings, and Albert Schneider is also helping us with the initiative. So this is going to be a fantastic development tool for us as we proceed and get underway, and we get the P-TECH type small learning communities developed. There'll be other opportunities for us to get funding other than grants, because as you know, there's a lot of tools in the funders toolbox. So these activities, I think, will also tie into a social media strategy for the school that we could look forward to, and possibly even bring the PTOs into those activities, give them a little jump start. But the first step, of course, is to develop a culture of giving, to give people a reason to give. So that's really our present focus. Is that we've been having a lot of P-TECH type meetings. The second grant that I'm working on right now is a full service community school grant. I'm working on that with Ann Mead in partnership. That's due next week. Ann and Dave Kratzik are primarily the lead writers on that grant. And the third grant I'm working on is the TQP STEM Math Partnership. Dr. Bless is helping Katie O'Callaghan from WestCon. And we have the data to support the grant applications so we can move forward with that. And that'll be with Westcon, Danbury High School, and the new West Side Middle School Academy. So we had to, some of these grants are very specific in their eligibility criteria, but we managed to meet that for this Teachers Quality Partnership Grant. We've had some incoming funding, which has been exciting. Dr. Glass was instrumental in garnering $25,000 for the Teacher Cadet Program that we work on with Western Connecticut State University. And Pitney Bowes has made a donation. We don't know how much yet. We're waiting for the checks. And there's 2 programs, the School Readiness Program and the Family Literacy Center. So there'll be 2 separate donations coming in. And also I've been meeting with the folks from the Fairfield County Community Foundation, and I have a good contact there, and they want to increase their footprint in the Danbury area, so that's good news. They'll be focusing on the PTEC type programs, and as you know, the Fairfield County Community Foundation is a consortium of donor-advised funds, so this could be very exciting for us. They're also interested in learning more about our Teacher Cadet Program, possibly funding a student for a year. So they've asked us to apply January 2015 cycle for that program. Outstanding grants that are pending, hopefully approval because they equal $8 million, but the I3 grant, that's Ann's grant, it's about $5.9 million. National Science Foundation, that's Frank LeBanca's grant, that's about $1.5 million. For blended learning. And then Anna Rocco has the Connecticut State Department grant for $15,000 for parent engagement attendance grant. And then we have a small ING grant for about $2,000. So all those are pending. We should hear by the end of the year, hopefully sooner. So when we look at our grants as they come across my desk, because we've had a lot of them come through in the last couple of months. There's just been a flood from the federal government. And what we do is I'll reach out to whoever would be the lead contact on that, and I always have Bill in the loop and Dr. Sal on 99.9% of them. And we check for feasibility. Are they feasible? Time, resources. We assess the situation. Is this something we can complete in the required time? And then we make a determination from there. So, there are many grants that come across my desk, and sometimes we have to turn them away. I think what we're going to be working on over the summer is going to be to try to put together a chamber breakfast, so that we can have Dr. Sal talk a little bit more about the PTEC type programs. Because we want to try and inspire companies in the region to work with us, not only from a financial perspective, but also with our students. So we need to find a way to sort of jumpstart that initiative. So it's an organic process, and I think we've done a lot in a short period of time. So, does anyone have any questions about the grants?
Can you give some details on the grant you mentioned, the $5.9 million, as far as just the parameters of it or the conditions?
It's an I3 grant. Dr. Sal probably knows more about the I3
It's an
grants.
innovation grant.
Development, it was a development grant, I3 innovation development.
Work with the early childhood and after school programming, interventions, things of that nature. There was only one issue last year in Connecticut that received it, just one out of all the applicants, and that happened to be from Ed Connections, which is our region, which was kind of interesting. I'm hopeful that we can get something out of it. It's a difficult grant to get. But it'll be working with Ann and all the programs that we have that are early childhood programs. The real thing that I think that, as I mentioned, is development. She's trying to develop connections with people who have resources. And if we can resonate with their goals and what they're trying to put into their organization, and we're trying to get a match up. and say, we have that here. So, if we could, as we talked about, if we could get, some of the programming that we have subsidized by the grants, that just helps us with moving forward. Last week, we had a conversation where the grantees now would like to announce, they'd like to say, I'm just going to use an example, we will pay for this, that, let's say, all the SIAP coaches, or all of this. And at the beginning, we look at that, which is good for us, because then we can quantify it and show it and see if they'll support it and what they'll commit to. So, so her time has been spent doing that, meeting with various groups, trying to make those connections. So we're hopeful that some of it will, 50% will pay off. That'll really be helpful. So.
But you work closely with Joe in terms of the budgets, and Bill, obviously.
The community service grant, do you know about how much that's for and what time period, and also briefly, what does it cover?
So the full service community grant with Ann Mead and Dave, so the funding range on that was $275,000 to $500,000. I'm not sure what number they've come to. They're still working on that. I think it was either 4 or 5 year term. And I think that they're looking at it from more of a medical perspective of using Dave's school. Which school is that? Dave and Park Avenue School, and bringing in the dental care and medical services into that school.
Would the fact that it would be physically located, so would it be open to all its open in the district?
I'm not getting that. I'm not hearing that. No, I think it's right. Yeah, it's just that school.
It would just be specific.
We would like for it to be the district, but it's not.
Okay, thanks.
Anybody else have any questions?
Thank you.
Seeing none, thanks very much. Thanks for your
Thanks,
time.
Carl.
And thanks for the work you're doing. I know my microphone's not on, or I can hear it blowing down my head. Alrighty. We have no student representatives.
They're busy.
We're too busy to come. We do have lovely things to give them. I'll send them to the school. All right. Okay. Action items. Yep, let's go.
That the Board of Education approve the 2014 through 2016 coherence plan in accordance with 14-13B.
Second.
Seconded by Patterson. Any questions? Comments? Seeing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Objections? Abstentions? No, it passes unanimously. Thank you. B.
That the Board of Education approve the Phase 2 technology lease in accordance with 14-139.
Wait your second.
Second.
Dave Petrina. Seconded. Any questions
Nice job, Joe, thank you.
or comments?
Sorry.
It's okay. Thank you. Everything's done? All in favor?
Aye.
Objections? Abstentions? Moving on.
That the Board of Education approve the revisions to the 2014-2015 school calendar in accordance with 14-140.
Seconded by Liz. Any questions? Any comments? Oh, excuse me, Mr. Foley.
Dr. Glass, could you please review just as far as the in front of students, the timeline and the amount, the increased amount that this new calendar represents?
Be happy to, sure. We've gone back, as the board knows, based on feedback from the board and listened to as many people as have come forward. And the argument that we've been talking about is trying to get more continuity to the calendar, and so parents could plan on a particular day of the month, and at the same time trying to get more instructional time for kids. So at the elementary level, with the calendar that you have in front of you, not counting the December 23rd over dismissal, we left that as is, it would give us 160 additional minutes for the K-5 schools. At the middle school, same thing, not counting 1223, would give us an additional 240 minutes. At the high school, because what we did with the, I'm sorry, that's off too, Michael. Must be with the mics on.
Move yours over, Mike.
That was it.
That's what you get for asking for benchmark exams. At the high school, because of the work that we did with the interim and final exams, we're picking up a whopping 1,560 minutes, and which is what we had hoped to do with recouping the time from those exams. So, quick recap: elementary 160 minutes, middle school 240 minutes, high school 1,560 minutes.
Thank you.
And if you would just take a second and look at the lower right quadrant, and listening to everything, putting the calendar together, you need some goals to guide us. And what we've tried to do is exactly as Bill said, and I'm going to put it right on the calendar, to increase as many contiguous days, to avoid the multiple Fridays within 1 week, that concept, when we can. Some years it's a little difficult because of religious holidays, okay? Create a pattern for parents. They didn't like the idea of dismissal, we all know that, but if they said they're going to do something, if you can do it on the same day, it certainly helps for family planning. And to conduct PD early release days, October and May, and try to avoid the June and September. So, we're back to school, get to work, and then in June, that's kind of a crazy month. So that doesn't negate the fact that we're going to meet on those Tuesdays. It's just that we're going to not have the dismissal time, because the people still need the time to do the work. They'll just be absent that extra hour. That's the difference that we're going to do. So we think we can do the work, and then we'll go from there next year.
All right, are there any other questions? Any other comments?
Just a comment, I certainly like to thank Dr. Glass and our superintendent for really going back, taking a second look at this, and making sure that we give the extra time. And you all had talked about the making sure that we give more time for teachers in front of students. And I certainly appreciate you redoing this.
That goes unsaid, but thank you for saying it. All right, seeing none, no other comments, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Objections? Thank you.
Stand up.
The crowd goes wild.
You don't know what we're laughing at, do you?
Danbury High School trip to, sorry.
That the Board of Education approved the Danbury High School trip to Italy, April 10th through 19th, 2015, in accordance with 14-141.
Second.
Seconded by Michael. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, any questions?
I do. Just a
What do you
quick,
do?
I want to go, sorry.
That's it.
Is it possible that we could ask when the trips are over, that some of the students come forth and explain what they've learned on the trip? I mean, generally, we go through this, and it's not until the following year when they come up for a renewal of a trip to that country that they say, oh, last year we had a great time. So it'd be nice for us to gloat, you might say, in their envy in having this trip, but also the importance as to what they learned.
Sure.
So you may pass it on to.
Oh, I think they would relish that.
They would love to do that. But, remember, we're not sending them, we're just saying they can go.
Oh,
So their allegiance to us is limited.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of us are thinking about it, just so you know. All right. All right, did you vote?
No.
No. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Abstentions? Objections? Passes, thank you.
That the Board of Education accepts the following school construction projects as complete and authorizes the superintendent of schools to certify and execute the following ED 049F forms for Roberts Avenue School, aka Ellsworth, Rogers Park Middle School, Stadley Rough School, roof replacement, Danbury High School window replacement in accordance with 14-142.
Second.
Seconded by Bob Charzak. All in favor? Oh, I'm sorry, any questions or comments? Seeing none.
I'd just like to thank the people involved for the work that went on. I'm very pleased with the presentation before the Sites and Facilities Committee. I mean, making everything understandable to someone like me.
You just like the rest of us. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Objections? Abstentions? Moving on. Mr. Dr. Pasquale.
Real quick, the P-TECH, you heard Carlin talking about that. I bring it up to keep it in front of you. We met, we being the district representatives, along with Naugatuck, we were here last week and talked more. Everybody's really, I can't express how excited everyone is about it, from the university to our personnel. The next step for us is to look at the whether or not we can execute a grant that we're in line for of $500,000. That money would have to come around and coalesce around what they call redesign for the secondary, and the P-TECH fits into that design. It sounds as though very definite they're looking at bricks and mortar or reorganization. And we're going to take a walk with the architects a week from next Tuesday or thereabouts at the high school to look at the general additions, and then we're going to look at some possibilities of designing some space there in one of the annex buildings that we have, which is our automotive shop, to see if in fact that would help us out. So we're excited about that. We have started as a pilot next year the programming at the high school for juniors and seniors. The P-TECH, as you know, are really beginning with freshmen in their clusters, so that's a big difference. And we're hoping that we can present something to the board and also to the state for possible funding. We were supposed to do a presentation on Friday to Naugatuck with this because there are many districts that are very interested in it. So I just want to keep in front of it, that's why it's here.
Excellent, excellent. Okay. Good. Thank you very much. Alrighty. All right, I hate to bring this word up. For the information, Dr. Glass, is that you?
I'm sorry.
That's the calendar. The 15-16 calendar's on here with just major holidays, if you take a look at it. And that's primarily for planning purposes, particularly for families and those that are looking at, and that we're calling about when your holidays are going to be. This 15 and 16, you may recall, we weren't going to do anything with it, because that was going to be a required regional calendar. They moved that ahead to another year. We'll see what happens. Which means next year, we're approving the 1 2 years after that, that is going to be the required regional calendar, unless it's switched. And I'm not sure if that's going to happen. But at any rate, this is just off information. It follows the principles pretty much what we talked about before. It does not have in it any of the dismissal times, because as promised, we're going to get some feedback on those Tuesdays dismissal, see how it's working. And then we'll put in any of those PD days at that time when we have some time to look at it. This is just information for the major holidays.
Okay, thank you very much.
Right.
Alrighty, the board chairperson doesn't really have a report to, so to say, we've all seen one another on a steady day for the last 2 weeks. So we've all heard everything that I need to say. I do want to stress all of the things that are coming up, all the graduations next week. The middle school promotion ceremonies are on Thursday the 19th, and they'll both be held at Denver High School in the auditorium, Rogers Park at 2 and Broadway at 5. So if you can just participate in one of them or not participate, come. You just let Debbie know if you're coming or me, so that they can tell the principals so that they are aware of who's going to be in the audience. Denver High School, of course, is on Tuesday. There is nothing on Wednesday. Friday is King Street. King Street has, does somebody have the times? I don't have my book with me. It's early on Friday. And it goes back to back so that it all the 5 grades go. It's 3, and I think they have 6 classes, if I'm not mistaken, because there's 6 different teachers. I'm talking into the microphone now. And So that's Friday. This Friday, that we didn't get a notice, but I happen to know someone that's graduating. Kindergarten in South Street is graduating at 8:30 in the morning. So that's pretty exciting. What else?
You had ACE?
And we have ACE. ACE is Tuesday. Whatever we do, let's not forget ACE at 9:30 in the morning. Now, the nighttime one, and I'm going to say this because we haven't had a lot of conversation, I'm not going to the nighttime one this year. However, if you ever, any of you that are, especially people that are, have not been on the board as long as some of us, ever want to find out what ACE is about, you need to attend the nighttime graduation. The one during the day in the morning is nice. And you find out a little bit about it. But you're still wondering, why did they call the teachers by their first names? Why did they do this? Why did they do that? Go to the nighttime graduation and see what really goes on between the faculty and the students at ACE, because that's where you find out what ACE is, what it is, okay? There's a dinner. You do not have to attend the dinner. They've separated this year. If you have any questions, just give me a call or Deb a call, and we'll explain it all to you. It's really worth your while to go, because it's when you see what they do. It's the only way you'll really find out.
That's, by the way, that's June 16th.
And that is the Tuesday. Before.
No, that's
a
a
Monday.
Monday.
Before the Tuesday graduation of the high school. We at the
This
high
Monday
school.
coming up, right?
Yeah, next Monday coming up. We, graduation at the high school, we need to be parked and in the staging area by 4 o'clock. Got it? Because they let those parking spaces go, and unless you live Richie Valley, you're parking in the woods. Okay, I happen to know where he lives, so I just parked there. Okay. What else?
All is well.
That's my whole report, other than it's just been a ball. Okay, moving on. All right, you have a motion to recharge. Does anybody have a copy, before we do this, because we're not going to have a chance to do this after this next session. Anybody have any report from your schools or from your organizations that you go to?
I just had a great point. I like the new board last meeting.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, a new PTO board. And they have a new citywide rep who's going to be representing come to the citywide meetings.
Cool. Excellent. Anybody else have any reports?
Except the first PTO meeting, I think they decided to have it at the West Side Academy, I think in September, right?
Right, that's what we talked about when we were there. We're trying to get more people. I was at the citywide meeting also, and I think they're trying to get more people involved in the citywide, because a lot of people still don't know what they are and how valuable it is. So one of the parents suggested have it there, see the place and get more people out. You're going to try refreshments. I mean, that always gets me somewhere, so that's good. Yeah, but other than that, I mean, they discussed. I don't know, is that going to be able to happen or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. We should be, briefly though, we think, when are we going to take the occupancy of the West Side Academy? They gave us a date.
July 15th.
15th. And the only one at this point that we think would be on that would be Park. And that would be sometime probably first week or so. So, August. So we should be ready.
I think we should do one at every renovated school for the next.
Oh, sure.
Just to get people out.
As far as the participation in citywide, 13 years ago, nobody knew it was them either.
Right.
I mean, so it's not like it's a new phenomenon. All righty, that's it. Do I have a motion to enter into executive session? Now, so moved. Okay. Seconded?
Next.
Michael, seconded? All in favor?
Aye.
Let's go. Hi, thank you very much for coming.
7:45. We'll trade that.
5 minutes. 3 minutes. Share. Way more information than I
We'd alternate, okay, your turn, your turn.
Bill? Dr. Glass? Dr. Glass? Could you tell us a little bit about your team, sir?
Absolutely. It is a
team from Danbury High School, composed primarily of seniors, but we also have some juniors and a sophomore. And it was an engineering challenge that Sikorsky set up a few years ago. And it's a fantastic challenge in that it is very difficult to accomplish. They incorporate all the processes of engineering, so the students had to do a project plan. They had to do a cost analysis. They had to do some physics, of course. And what was the fourth component? Oh, and a presentation. They basically had to sell what it is that they had designed. So the first half of the year was 4 separate challenges broken up into those 4 categories. And then the second half of the year, they gave us a difficult problem in having to redesign some landing gear that used all 4 of those components into one piece. So at the end of the year, we had submitted our project and got back a grade that said we were in the top 3, so we could travel to the Hartford Innovation Connect Convention and compete against 2 other teams, Amity and Ridgefield. It wasn't even close. I mean, we blew them out of the water. We blew them out of the water. The kids did a fantastic job on the presentation. They were bold. They spoke well. Their plan was fantastic. The judges had all kinds of very positive things to write, and it was overall a great experience for the kids. I know that there are some students who are rethinking their future career plans because of this experience. Come in. And here they are.
Do you want us to start now?
Are they here?
We have, overall, we had 13 core members that were part of the winning design. I know that there were probably...
A couple of them are at the senior trip.
Okay.
And started after that.
All right, so...
There's still quite a few kids on the way.
Yeah.
So if I could ask of the students, are you seniors?
No.
So two seniors, yes? And 1
Junior.
junior? And career job, college? Where are you off
I'm
to?
going to University of Rochester.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to Carnegie Mellon University.
Carnegie Mellon. Both to study engineering?
I'm studying economics and statistics.
I'm sorry?
Studying economics and statistics.
Economics.
Engineering.
Fine instructor.
Why don't you
I know
sit?
that's right.
Wait. Yeah, because we're gonna wait till they, in case your other team members come.
Yeah, Mr. Parker, of your group, women, girls versus boys. I'm just amazed and actually very pleased as far as...
Yes, I am too. It was, I want to say it was pretty close to 50-50.
Actually, we were the only team there that had like an equal amount of girls as boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the other teams were mainly male dominated, but our team had most girls.
Congratulations. The newest member, senior as well? Are you a senior, sir?
No, I'm a junior.
Junior? Thank you.
This is the team now. So I don't know if there's anybody else coming.
One new person was mixed with them.
These aren't.
Some of them are.
Oh, here we go.
I'm so sorry.
So why don't you explain a little bit as far as the students, your involvement, your role, and kind of what you found most challenging and the same respect, most exhilarating. How's that? Everybody jump up at once now, come on.
I was an executive team leader, which means for this final project, I was picked by Mr. Parker to be one of the leaders that oversaw that all the tasks were being completed, because we had 4 kind of individual projects that were leading up to this big project, and we had individual team leaders for that, but this final thing kind of needed more guidance, I guess. But everybody worked together. It didn't seem like no one was more power than the other person. We all worked together to create this project. So it was kind of just a group success. No one worked harder than anyone else. We all worked together.
Who were the key presenters as far as, or was it a total group effort?
Total group effort.
Yeah, that was one of the things that they were graded on, was that everybody participated in the overall presentation. And so about 10 minutes before they actually gave the presentation, they were standing up on the stage and they were practicing handing off the microphone so that everything would go smoothly, and it was very effective.
The teacher just told us, made us very proud. You were great representatives of Danbury High School. Thank you very, very much. I need to ask you, how long have you been involved in this kind of project? How long have you been around?
With this Sikorsky STEM Challenge?
Well, the whole STEM thing at the high school. So this kind of involved.
Well, this is the first year that we've ever done the Sikorsky STEM Challenge. I've been a physics teacher at the high school. This is my 9th year, and I was in industry before that.
Yes?
Jameson, I have to say to the board, there's a quality of Jameson that drives me crazy. And that is, there's modest, there's super modest, and there's Jameson modest. I'm looking at something that came from someone named Lauren West, and it's from Washington, dated June 11, 2014. 8 Connecticut teachers spent June 4 through 7 in New Orleans participating in Teach Fest, a unique professional development event focused on creating high-quality Common Core curricular resources. You want to talk a little bit about what you did? Since
Sure.
you're one of 2 in this state, I believe.
Yes, it's a fantastic company called LearnZillion that creates Common Core content that's free on the internet for anyone. And the way that they get this content is by hiring teachers such as myself to put it together. Right now they have several hundred 5-minute videos for things from 2nd grade reading all the way up to pre-algebra or calculus. And we actually have 2 people from this district, Rachel Saunders and myself, who were hired to do this. And 4,000 applicants went for this, 200 were selected. So it's a great honor to have been chosen by LearnZillion to represent them and represent the district in that way. And it was a fantastic learning experience. They had us down in New Orleans. They worked us hard, 12 hours a day, but it was fantastic content, and it was New Orleans, so how can you go wrong? It was great.
The board earlier tonight heard from Melissa Nadeau, who is our STEM department head, and Rachel Saunders, you may remember, is our STEM coach at the middle school level. So you guys just keep racking up these awards and bringing honor to the district. It's wonderful, and you all know the quality that your teachers bring, so it's just astronomically awesome.
So does that make everyone want to teach you?
Well, they see how hard I work, you know.
But you got to know the walls.
When you were describing the project and how it progressed, it reminded me of I was a judge at the Invention Convention at the middle school, or not the middle school, this last year for that. And I was like, it was like a grown-up invention convention. That's what it was. God, thank you very much, all of you, for coming and doing it. I hope you had a nice time today on your trip. Or you, none of you went. Okay, well, it's been really lovely. We're so well informed here. Thank you very much for coming, okay? Thank you. We have business we have to do.
You want to
We have,
just...
you have the...
Introductions, read this into
Yeah, would you like to introduce them, please? Yes.
Great.
Yeah. All right, so okay, so we have Melissa Palme, who, yeah, please do. And she was a big part of the trade study. We have Miles Asensio, who was the person who spoke first to the group on the presentation. We have, we have Jin Wang, who, without his help, the engineering portion would have been a disaster. Him and Ryan Hyatt were absolutely key in persevering and working through that. We have Siri Shalari, who was one of the executive team leaders And I'm so glad that I chose her to do that because she really shined in that position and did a great job. And we have Jen Port, who's also part of the trade studies program. And as a team, they worked really well together. Everybody divided up the work. Thank you. And I would say it was a highly successful year, especially in our first year. With what we learned in this experience too, we have a few people that are going to be returning. So I'm hoping that we'll be standing here next year with our second STEM award.
You know, we keep hearing in terms of urban, suburban high schools and the product that we maybe produced. You guys, this makes us proud. It happens so often. That's why the board has committed to having folks come here once a month, twice a month, to just stay and look at that and say thank you for what you do. It really means a lot for us. It means a lot to a lot of university that hears about Danbury. Not only you going to New Orleans, but the programs that we're in. You know, that just lights them up when they look at graduates sending with those applications. It makes a difference. It makes a difference for your life experience, but it makes a difference as an ambassador from Danbury. So I thank you very deeply for that, very much. Enjoy your. Who's graduating? It's not going to rain, right? So that's next Tuesday.
I'd also like to take a second to thank the parents that are supporting these children, young students, and their children.